Hey, what's up everybody? Green Glass Gamer here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Ashen. This is a Souls-esque game that released on the Xbox Game Pass about a month ago, and I was extremely excited to check it out. You know, they have Ludex Gundyr. Alright, while it lacks what I believe to be the grandeur and scale of Dark Souls, because in Dark Souls you have the Lords of Cinder and the medieval factions and this overall epicness, and the plotline, however, was not as deep, but I felt that it was easier to comprehend. The gameplay was more fluid, and that really helped me. It was a great game, so let's get into it. In a game like Dark Souls 3, the world almost never changes, except for perhaps the appearance of a new NPC, a Firelink Shrine with whom you can unlock abilities or trade for new weapons. However, in Ashen, this is not the case. As you gradually progress throughout the game by binding your spirit to different ritual stones, you will soon discover that the towns and cities that were once abandoned have restored a sense of normalcy, and there will soon be shops and quest givers to talk to. There are 5 unique boss fights in Ashen, with the 6th unlockable via hard mode. Each of these boss fights provides its own reasoning for doing so. For example, the first boss fight will reward you with a new piece of armor, specifically a helmet, whereas the second boss fight that I'm about to show you here will provide you with a way to travel between ritual stones, something that will prove incredibly useful during the game. Each boss fight in Ashen is heavily rooted in the game's lore, and each of them is also alluded to in the opening cutscene of the game. Due to this, none of the boss fights ever felt like they were thrown into the game for filler last minute, or that they were simply there because they needed a boss fight. Even Garoan with his runic axe has a place as one of the 3 Elder Dark, who you must slay in order to progress the game. Because each boss fight in Ashen has its own place in the game's lore, each one of these feels like an intentional boss fight with meaning, as opposed to some bosses in Dark Souls 3, which could be considered this game's counterpart, such as the vile watchdog of the Boreal Valley, who no new player will recognize until they have passed it. However, this lack of boss fights will not leave many die-hard fans of Dark Souls disappointed. Due to the fact that there is an alternate ending with another unlockable boss fight, this is sure to bring back fond memories for many Dark Souls players. The game uses a stamina-based combat system similar to that to Dark Souls. This is why many players have been calling it a Dark Souls copy and paste. However, this is not the case. The movement is much more fluid, and for me this allowed for a much more enjoyable experience. The linear movement of Dark Souls could not differ more from Ashen's fluid, rapid gameplay. However, I can't spend this entire video gushing about this amazing indie game. It does have its faults. For example, the buddy AI system places reviving you above all else, and sometimes will idiotically fail a level. In addition to this, the buddy AI refuses to fall down any cliffs, forcing you to face many enemies alone, and then when you attempt to be revived, having to wait for near 30 minutes. The revival system itself sometimes fails, and sometimes forces you to have to wait through about 15 minutes of glitching before you can actually resume gameplay. However, despite all of these faults, Ashen is a good game, and I believe that I can honestly give it a 4 out of 10. Be sure to like and subscribe down below if you enjoyed the content. Also remember to hit that notification bell if you want to know exactly when any of my new videos come out. This is Green Glass Gamer, and I'll see you next time.